Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Katrina. This is Sow and Tare. We do our live chat every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And we're here now. Welcome. I think I'm going to bring you guys closer to me. There we go. All right. Hope everybody's doing well today. It got hot today. I should see what the temperature is. 93. The hottest I saw it was 95. I think it got hotter than that though. So, yeah, hope everybody's doing well. If you're new here and if you're not new here, go ahead and let us know who you are, where you're from, what you doing, what you growing, what you're hoping to learn. And if you have a topic of discussion or something to share, go ahead and put it in the comments. But first off, we have this coming Sunday. I will get stuff out by tomorrow. This coming Sunday is our Cook With Me live, members only cooking show / participation, where I cook in my kitchen and you cook in yours. So I will put the link here to become a member. It's 11 a.m. Pacific time, and we are going to make chicken Alfredo. I will be making rabbit Alfredo. You can make whatever kind of Alfredo you want, and in fact, it's called fettuccine for some reason in this recipe. But it also calls for fettuccine noodles or a different kind of noodle. So I will get that out on the interwebs tomorrow or by tomorrow for ingredients. And the one thing you're going to need is eggs because we're making noodles. So if you want to join us, we have a lot of fun. We do face-to-face. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to, but it's a lot of fun. So I encourage you to sign up. Very affordable, and join us. All right, scrolling up. You guys were here early. Hey, Verna. Verna is here from Bay's Place. She's in blue with a little wrench. She is a moderator. She also has her own channel, growing stuff in an apartment setting. Check out her channel. She does a live chat on Saturday mornings. Desiree's here soon. Welcome, Desiree. Oh, you're going to be cooking soup. Good. Potato leek fish pho. It's pronounced pho, right? It sounded good until you got to the fish part. All right. Hopefully it's good. Fish chowder. That's not the same. No, chowder is a thick soup and pho is a broth-based soup. It's mostly broth with some solids in it. It's I believe it's Vietnamese. It's spelled PHO, but I believe, someone correct me if they absolutely know what we're talking about, but I believe it's pronounced pho. And it can be good and it can be too oily in my taste, depending on where you get it from. But homemade, that sounds good. And Desiree says it's pretty good. It is not the same as New England clam chowder, Verna. It's much different. Chowder is a thick soup, and it is usually like a creamy thick soup. This is literally broth, mostly broth with some solids. Yeah. All right. Oh, Desiree found broth packets for pho broth at the dollar store. I wonder what it has in it. I might want to check those ingredients. You just put some simple ingredients in, and it's good. Okay, there you go. Yes, and it's a clear broth too. Yep. Yeah. Right. So they usually have some sort of noodle in it as well. That's true. The way I've had it served is basically, it's a broth, and then when they bring it to you, basically it's very hot broth, and they actually put the noodles in and the meat in, and then everything else is on the side. So if you have sprouts basil and jalapeno and all of that. All that is on the side, and you put it in yourself at the restaurant if you have a restaurant. One time I ordered it to go, and this is when I realized, oh, they cook the meat in the broth because the meat is super, super, super sliced, super thin, and they gave us raw meat. And that was not what I was expecting. They're like, here's your soup and here's your packet of raw meat. It's like, oh, okay. So it must be cooked very quickly in the boiling broth. Yeah, it's good though. Steve's here. S.O. Swanson Steve. He's in Blue Little Rich, and he is another moderator who raises quail. Welcome. Hey, 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 my friends. We were just here. It feels like yesterday. There you go. Welcome back. All right. Yeah, it can be used. So you guys are giving all sorts of definitions of pho, and it can be used for any type of broth. Is what I understand. There's different kinds. So, yeah. And Desiree says, I love egg drop soup. All right. Andy's here. Hello, Andy Rabbit. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Desiree says, oh, yeah, the name of it is, the powder. Millie's sipping broth. Delightful pho. Okay. Okay. Uh-oh. Verna's throwing punches. Talking to Steve. I find it funny egg drop is your favorite, but you're afraid to try balut, which tastes like egg drop soup. I've not had balut. I don't need to. I would try it if I needed to try it, but maybe not my thing. Verna has a video doing that. Dawn's here. Hello. Hello, Dawn. Welcome. Okay. Tommy's here, the Aquatic News Network. Howdy, Earthlings. Howdy, Tommy. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you are far, far, far away from all the flooding in Texas. Yeah, hope you're doing good. Hope everybody you know is doing good. It was hot today. Andy's asking how everybody is. It was hot today. I stayed inside, though, and the windows and doors are finally in, so I turned on my air conditioning. I did that actually over the weekend. But I've not lived in a place that had air conditioning. That's not true. Growing up, we had air conditioning, but we turned on maybe 3 times the whole time I lived there. But I did turn it on, and it's a nice little comfort to have. Once the solar is hooked up, it'll be free. Batteries for EcoFlow, I'm having trouble getting people to sign off on. They do not have the appropriate stamp on the units. They have it on their whole house panel. They even have it on the cord that goes from the panel to the battery, but they do not have it on the battery. So I've been working with them, and they just emailed back, I think it was Friday, to see if one of these other listings, which is good for Europe, but not here. It's like supposed to be international, but it looks like it's for Europe. Anyway, that is on it, and it needs to pass inspection, though, because it's part of a solar system. Waiting on that. We'll see what happens. Hopefully you don't have to redo stuff, because that will be expensive and may have some consequences for EcoFlow. They told me it would pass inspection. All right, so cross your fingers for me. Oh, Desiree says I've never had pho with beef. I have had it quite often. But I don't like fish, so I wouldn't have ordered fish. But yeah, they have that. PJ's here. Hey, friends. Hey, PJ. Good to see you. And PJ, the 20th Sunday is our Cook With Me live day, and we're doing chicken Alfredo or rabbit Alfredo. And I will be putting out ingredients by tomorrow. We all know there's eggs involved because we're making noodles. All right. Oh, Verna's exhausted. 3 hours of sleep. Oh my goodness. You need to take a nap there. All right. Thanks for the heads up, Andy. All right. Everybody's saying hi. You're going to add Pollock to the soup? I don't know what that is. Pollack? Oh, it's a fish. That's why I don't know what it is. All right. Homestead Matters. Good evening, y'all. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, hope everything's going well and you're not hot. All right. All right. Thank you, Steve. It's not too late to become a kit and member for Cook With Me Live. It is not too late. Thank you. So many people. We have got a good amount of people on today. It may be because people missed last Monday because we did it Thursday, and that messes people up for that week. I know it messes me up. But welcome. All right. PJ saying hi to everyone. Everybody's saying hi to everybody. Steve says PHO is pho in the US and fa if you're Canadian. Oh my gosh. Desiree, I wouldn't add fish, but I wouldn't take advice from me if you like fish. Verna's saying add the fish. Oh boy. All right. So Steve says I learned about shrimp on Tommy's video. Good, good. Did you cook shrimp, Tommy, or were you raising shrimp? Tommy raises fish and stuff like that. Yeah. The ingredients are all readable. Good, good, good. You haven't had street lights since Friday night, Rena says. I mean, personally, I think that would be a good thing because I don't like the extra light. But just the street lights or like the power is out? Interesting. PJ says, I do. Yeah. Steve says I haven't had streetlights in 4 years. No streetlights here. Oh, that's why it's important. Got it, Verna. You have to wear a headlight when you go for the walk at night. Yep. Yeah. All right. PJ says I had a busy Saturday, dug up a random pine tree and magnolia tree from my son's flower garden, put them in pots to hopefully survive a bit and transplant to a better area. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. I really hope you're liking, I forget which Carolina you're in, the Carolinas. I hope you're liking that. A deer just walked by. That's so funny. They are on such a pattern here. It's really funny because there's one mama. They are much skinnier and smaller this year than last year. But there's one mama that's been going to the apple tree because the small apples have been dropping. And she spends the time up there and she lays down and then she gets up and does some more and lays down. And she's up there for probably several hours in the evening. And I talk to her when I go outside, and so she's more used to me. Doesn't spook as much. And she has a little one that is already doesn't have spots. And then I remember the deer having spots a lot later in the season last year because I wasn't even here at this time of year last year. So yeah. Anyway, they're good. I did not do my homework. I have been busy. I have been busy, Steve. I partially put in the water for the garden. I need to do I did the long pieces, and I need to do the connections. I did that. It was hot. I did not get a lot done this weekend because it was hot, and I stayed inside most of the time. Verna says that you missed 11 minutes of the chat? Had to refresh the page. Oh, no. Okay. Okay. Steve says, put that magnolia tree where she can have a wide skirt. That's what you call the spread of the leaves at the bottom. I call it a drip line. Fun fact, Tommy probably already knows this. Magnolia leaves are sold in the fish and reptile trade. I think mostly fish trade. It does something with the pH, I believe, of water. Something. Anyway, so dry them and sell them. Maybe Tommy can illuminate what it's actually used for, because I just know I learned that, and because I always want to know what something's good for, right? I'm like, what are magnolia trees good for? They have these ridiculous blossoms that just fall apart and go brown on the sidewalk, and then they have these like balls of seeds that fall, and then you like twist your ankle on them, because they're mostly street trees where I used to be. And then I found that out. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, PJ says, then transplanted my Cavendish banana and Meyer lemon trees to bigger pots. Nice. Picked up a cherry tomato plant and repotted that to a bigger container. My neighbor confiscated my dying plants. I still had plants in little containers. She came over and she's like, can I take your plants and transplant them to bigger containers so they can live while you're getting your stuff set up? I'm like, yes. So thanks to my neighbor for doing what's best. Oh, this year is not the year for garden. It needs to be starting here soon. Yeah, exactly. When you get a house, you'll start the magnolia tree. That's good. Okay. So Verna says power out on only 2 blocks of Main Street, but not to the building. So literally just the street lights. Interesting. And I know this looks funky, but those are pluots, I believe. I thought they were Silk Road nectarines, but I think they're pluots. They're frozen in the freezer. There you go. All right. PJ says picked up a coffee bush, pomegranate tree, and Barbados cherry and potted them up. PJ, you sound like me before I got my other house. I had so many things in pots. I didn't have a house. They were just in pots. And now I'm starting over. Keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. Good to get those started. Peter says transplanted some zucchini plants and sunflowers too, then started more seeds in their raised bed. That is awesome. Yeah, you needed to get to growing and caught up where you can. Okay. Yeah. You know what? It's important. This year I'm just like, whatever gets planted, and that's going to be what happens. I thought I was going to be ready for all of this way before I am. And yeah, there you go. Dawn says, wow, I have a 30-foot tall magnolia tree. I take magnolia bark supplements for muscle pain. I did not know it did that. And magnolia bark and philodendron mix. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, Steve says, good thing those magnolia leaves are good for something. They take forever to compost unless you shred them with a lawnmower. Exactly. They're like palm fronds. Yeah. Start selling them. I mean, you got to find the people who buy them, though. Yeah. Oh, Dawn says, couldn't sleep 3 straight years until I found Relora to trademark magnolia bark and philodendron. Isn't philodendron poisonous? And yes, I know they make medicine out of poisonous things sometimes. Interesting. Glad it's working for you. And Dawn says, I had my pressure canner lid inspected at the local county extension today. A1 perfect passed. Beans were ready today. I picked tomorrow. Awesome, awesome. Well, have fun with that. Buster says, hey to all listening while finishing feeding. Welcome, Buster. Hope you're doing well. And I hope all the storms are done with you guys. Oh, all right. Everybody's saying hi. Dawn says, going to Nashville to pick up grandsons from Florida. Week or two coming up. Okay, good. Good. South Carolina is loaded with magnolia, PJ says. Open up that business. Yeah, you couldn't do that if you didn't get the new knees. I'm so glad that you have, like, your recovery is so successful. It's awesome. Steve grows magnolia trees like they're weeds. Yeah. Post what to a fishing channel? What are we posting to a fishing channel? Oh, the leaves, yeah. Yeah, you can. Yeah, there's lots of things that you can use for things you don't think about. And that's one of them. Bark of a lot of different trees. There's different leaves for different situations. I don't know, Tommy, if you're still on, maybe you can let us know what kind of leaves are good in tanks that you've seen for sale. Because I would not have thought to pick up dried magnolia leaves and put them in a bag and sell them. Like, that just seems ridiculous to me. But I also am not really experienced with having fish tanks that require such things. Okay, Verna says starting Wednesday is forecasted that we have 10 or 11 days of rain. How close to the river are you? You're pretty close, right? Wow. Okay. Dawn says it's starting at her place in 2 days. Wow. We don't have any of that here forecasted as far as I know. Let's look. There was a random storm on Monday. I think I told you guys about this already on Thursday. Last Monday, there was a random storm. Super blue sky, just a few little thunderheads, like the kind that are like, oh, that'll go away, you know? And then it didn't. And it basically ended up having tornadic winds, at least in a small area, because there was power poles, and at least the closest one looked like someone had just went, and there was about 8 of them that were down. Ooh, 6% tomorrow. Okay, no real percentages of rain in the near future. But yeah, that was a shock. That was a shock. Yeah. But nothing here either. Steve would like to see a forecast with some sunshine. Come on over, Steve. Come on over. We have it here. There's all sorts of fires south of here quite a ways, and then there's one kind of near my parents' house, not like by their house, but in their region. Like they see the fire planes flying over. So yeah. Yeah, you better get green beans picked tomorrow, Dawn. Yep. Verna says Miami and Little Miami are around me, but about 45 minutes to the Ohio River. Okay. Have you ever seen it? I know, Verna, you've lived in that area for a while now. Have you ever seen it jump the banks? The one that's near you? I'm just curious. Um, yeah. Anyway, um, the creek by me didn't like right here. I don't know that it actually went outside of the banks, like right here. I think it did further down, but it definitely had more stream influence on the way to the creek. So like through my pasture it became, a river, where there isn't one now. But that wasn't a result of the actual creek flooding its banks uphill, up this way. It was just a result of how much is going into the banks. So, okay, they have dikes built in to keep the Miami River in check. Okay. Okay. Hopefully that works. Yeah, I watched what is his channel name? Enoch. What is his channel name? I need to find out. He's in south of where I was when that storm hit, and let me see the Urban Gardener. So he's south of where I was when that storm hit, and he did a video showing the aftermath there, and he lost some fruit off the trees, and one of the trees that he was going to trimmed itself. But they got the wind from that. Okay, Verna says the Maumee River is a different story. I have seen it flood every spring. Okay. Okay. And PJ says, now I can take care of nuisance critters if threatening my animals. Okay. Do I dare ask how? Huh. Well, Ringo and Mama Kitty have been spending a lot of time underneath the car. It's nice and cool there. It stays cool all day. And they go out there and they peek out. They're like, yeah, we're not coming out. It's too hot out there. They're doing good though. So, as far as what's been going on here, the guys pretty much finished the texture on the drywall that they did around the windows. So windows are pretty much done. I think there's a seal that is a little weird that needs correction, and need to do something with the door. And other than that, it's ready to prime and paint. So hopefully I get started on that soon. And hopefully I'll have the walls done soon. Still waiting on a permit for putting in a sliding glass door and a window where there isn't any right now, or wasn't any. And so hopefully that'll come soon, because then we'll be done with that. But yeah. So hopefully I'll be painting soon. And then after painting, flooring can go in, and I will be doing a video on tiling the shower. I have everything except for they flopped 2 colors, so I need more of one and less of another one. So I need to call them about that, the tile people about that, so I can get more black. So that's what's coming up inside. I did order another freezer. So I'll be getting that, I think, on the 25th. Not this Friday, but the Friday after. And around that time is when I'm going to be processing the rabbits in the trail, in the tractors. Then the last batch of the year is going to go into those tractors, and then we'll have no more babies until maybe October, because I'll probably breed them in September, is my guess, which is fine. Mamas need a break. Yeah. And then as a reminder, for rabbits, the meal goes temporarily sterile in the summertime. Plus, it's not that nice to have your rabbits be pregnant and raising young all over the place when it's super hot out. But they get a break. The meals goes temporarily sterile, and then they'll pick up again once it cools down below like 85 degrees. So that will be kind of when that happens. Is usually, I think it's going to be September here. So this will be my second September here. So, and I started late last year. But if you're local and you're wanting to buy processed rabbits, or not processed rabbits, honestly, at this point, then I have those available. I am selling them. And then I'm also selling the rabbit hides. They're frozen, fresh frozen. And so I'll be selling those. I was going to, and I would like to at some point, but I was going to tan them or pickle them. I just realized I don't have the time. I don't have the time right now. Someone can do that doesn't want to process a rabbit and make more on it than what I will sell it to them, but I will still get my money's worth. So that is something that I'm interested in doing, and I am doing locally, and I need to put out on the local groups and posters and stuff. So I'll be doing that soon. But if you are local and listening local, spread it around that I do have rabbit meat for sale. And I also have some that are not meat yet. Yeah. All right. Scrolling up. Yes, she's not in New York anymore. That is right. Read up. I don't think what you said is maybe. I think the comment didn't go through, PJ. Okay. Yeah, it didn't post. Okay. Dawn says it was sharpening its claws on my screen porch. Didn't throw it in the lake. I don't know what was doing that, because again, I don't think that posted. My best guess is if you guys are using certain words, YouTube may be eliminating those posts. So find different words. Get out the thesaurus. PJ does have a longer growing season. PJ, how much longer is your growing season now? You moved a lot down. Yeah. Got it, Steve. Got it. PJ says Sunday I went to the range to have them teach me my pew-pew. Oh, Don says I was grilling quail on the grill and asked hubby if I could grill it. He said he didn't want... What? I don't understand that. Okay. It felt like the size of a jumbo quail. I don't know what you're talking about, Dawn. YouTube has censored you, I think. So that's okay. Steve says, I saw a video where a guy made broth with a tree bark to tan the hides of rabbits. Do you remember what tree it was? Like, was it an oak or something? I'm just thinking of like the tannins might work on that. Be interesting. Yeah, pew is a bad word. What we're thesaurusizing it as the word now. Verna says, I was taught rabbits, whether hunting or breeding, do in the months that have an R. So where that comes from, Verna, the processing rabbits or going hunting for rabbits that have an R in it, where that comes from is those are the months with the highest incidence of worms. So that's where it comes from. It's kind of just a saying that you can remember, but I believe that's where it originates. Homemade tannin solution. Yeah, Desiree, that's why I'm asking. I'm wondering if it's an oak, which has a lot of tannins in it. Yeah. I don't know. PJ and Dawn got censored, though. Not by me. Yeah, so Verna, I have the hides rolled up and in the freezer. I have a whole bunch of them. I don't need all of them. And it's not going to be when I get around to tanning. It's going to probably be several years before I have time to actually focus on doing that because of everything else that's going on. So at this point, I'm looking to sell them. I need to get them out of the freezer because it's taking up freezer space. Yes. And Verna needs more tea. What kind of tea are you drinking? I don't know, Dawn. Maybe StreamYard doesn't like them. So you didn't look that up yet, BJ? How long your season is? You can type into the computer. You can type in your zip code and ask how long growing season is, or it's your first to last frost date. It's your last to first frost date. I mean, yeah. All right, Dawn saying good night. Good night. Okay, it was oak tree. That's what I was thinking. Okay, so Steve did the math for you from a 3-month growing period to 6-month growing period for PJ. That's significant. That is significant. Your eggs will also need less supplemental light. Not your eggs, your bird's 4 eggs. Yeah. Verna says it comes from worms. And are you saying rabbits or rabies? Rabies doesn't have anything to do with season, really. I mean, it is inside an animal. Yeah. Iced tea. Okay. Good point. Yeah, Steve says to Dawn that you'll still be able to see the posts, it just won't show it to the rest of us. YouTube does that. Yeah. It wasn't me. Yep. All right, March 21 to November 20. That sounds like a good deal, PJ. I went backwards. I went the other direction. So, yeah, but that sounds like a good deal. You're going to have to be like jump on it when it goes when like in the spring when they're there first time in spring, you'd be like, "Duh, duh, duh, duh," and you're like, wait, I should start seeds. Oh, it's too late. Put them in the ground now. Yeah. Mm. I thought those were Silk Road nectarines, and they are not. So sad. I mean, they're still good, but I'm so sad. Vern wants to know, how did the car oven work? It worked good. It would have been nice if it was a little bit hotter because it was like just done. I would like to have been a little bit more done, but it worked. I did not actually do the focaccia yesterday. I was going to, and it was just I got too hot, which is the point, right? But I might be doing that tomorrow because I think tomorrow is supposed to be hot too. I should have looked at the temperature at the same time as when I looked at the rain potential. Let's see, because our heat warning is through tomorrow. Come on, Weather Channel. You can do it. It's going through like a loading or something. Okay, well, it'll come up when it feels like coming up. Maybe turn off, turn back on. Yeah, it's just gonna go through its thing. So yeah, it works good. It was not as hot as I thought it was gonna get that day. Yeah. You can do 2 plantings of potatoes, PJ. Yep. Yep. That is a good thing. There we go. All right. Oh, it went down. It's only supposed to be 89 tomorrow. But on Wednesday, it's supposed to get up to 97. So who knows? I might do Wednesday as a baking day in the car. We'll see. But cookies take a lot less time. Focaccia, I think what I'll have to do is I'll have to split the recipe into 2 pans because I think if it's too thick, it won't cook. I think it has to be a thinner thing. That's what I'll try anyway. I've tried putting sweet potatoes in, just like put it in, stab some holes. It does not work. There has to be some additional stuff with that. Something else to experiment with, I don't have, but actually I do have. Not sure if it on the dashboard. Do I still have that? I think I might have left that. Is a black pot. So if you have things in a fully black pot, like lid and the container, that will amplify the temperature as well. I mean, I did it with the glass in the glass, and that worked. That does the same thing, but I think having it inside a black pot will probably make it more hot. Is my guess. As long as it doesn't touch the windshield, it should be fine. Don't want it to get too hot and go. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I had planned to do focaccia, but I didn't. What I did do is I did record, and it's going to be a video for tomorrow, is how to set up your car for cooking on your dashboard. So it's just a how-to, doesn't have any recipes or how to, like put this in there or whatever. But it's just a how to set it up. And so I figured it's summer, and I don't think I have that yet, so it's a good thing to put that up. Yeah. Verna says, I will only grow all types of potato bags or pots. Sweet potatoes would love that long growing season, PJ. Yep. You don't like sweet potatoes. Learn to like them. Do you like the greens? That could be an alternate. Yeah. because the greens don't taste like sweet potatoes. And they are good, especially with garlic and yumminess. Yeah. What I really miss here is the lemon tree. So I did buy 2 Meyer lemon trees. They're very small, but we'll see how they do. Yeah. Pigs love sweet potatoes. That is a general comment. Yes. Yeah, the greens are good for you, or a spinach substitute. Yep. PJ says, okay, free pig feed. Free anything feed. I mean, I don't know. Is there anything you can't feed sweet potato greens to? The birds like it. I brought more water so I could have more water. Good for all your animals too. Roots and greens. Yeah. I don't know of any animals that you shouldn't give it to, but there might be one out there. Desiree says, definitely hot enough to cook outside. Boyfriend left out black keyboard keys to dry in a blackened metal cup, and they are all melted and warped. Yep. That's what happens in the sun and the heat. Yeah. Well, they're dry. I guess you got to redefine your goal. To dry and keep your shape. Yeah. So you probably already saw from the video today if you watched it, but the cherry plums are starting to ripen. There are 2 general types out here. I'm sure they're just spread by seed and whatever comes up, comes up. But there's one that has red leaves, and those have like the red purple fruits, and there's one that have green leaves, and they either have a red purple fruit or a yellowish fruit, and all of it's good. But the ones with the red leaves are just starting to become ripe right now. So, yeah. Steve says, don't eat keyboard keys, too much plastic. Plastic in everything these days, right? Yeah, one good thing about cooking, solar cooking meat, or anything really, it never burns. Yeah, I mean, like if you're making cookies, I like them soft, and I very rarely get it right when I'm solar cooking because I forget about it or I go too early and then too late. But when it's just right, it's just right. But you're never gonna overcook them. They're never gonna burn. You just make biscotti. Tommy says, backstory. A friend of mine from the UK called me with some updates, so I had to collect in all the new drama. Oh. So Tommy, I was asking when you were on the phone, I was asking if you can tell us, I know magnolia leaves are used for something in fish, in, aquaculture. I believe it's pH. What other leaves can people collect and potentially earn on by selling to the fish people? Yes, so now Tommy can answer the magnolia question. Exactly. I believe it's pH, but it could be something else. So yeah, that is apparently my computer's not plugged in. Hang on. Pause. Not sure why it wasn't plugged in. Plug's right here. All right. So yeah, we have questions on leaves and trees that can be used. It can be sold to the fish folk, people who do fun fish stuff. Because there's quite a few of them, I think. PJ says, ordered another Meyer lemon tree, thinking mine had died all over winter, but I still brought it with me. It started sprouting new leaves. Now I'll have to leave one here for my grandson. That's a good idea. That's a good plan. I got 2 because I have an idea. Supposedly they're good down to the temperature that they're, that is here in the winter time. I don't know that I trust that. I think I'm going to have one outside and one either inside for the winter. Probably this winter it'll be inside. Then once I have a high tunnel, I'll have one inside and one outside the high tunnel and see how that works. But I think that will be what happens. Kind of want to see. Yeah. Oh, he's excited about it. That's good. Lemon meringue pie is wonderful with Meyer lemons. I don't even have access local, like this tiny town to Meyer lemons. They have lemons that are not that great. I don't remember what kind they are. But after having a Meyer lemon and having use of a Meyer lemon, no other lemon is suitable. Okay, so that's what I can do with the catalpa trees. What's catalpa good for? That's the tree that's across the street from me. Catalpa or almond leaves, banana leaves, oak, live oak, mulberry, they all have different purposes, but for the most part, it's for quick biotic breakdown for microorganisms to eat to help with these cycle of a tank. Small invertebrates and snails love eating those leaves. Some of them are antibiotic and antifungal, like oak leaves. Mulberry and banana seem to be a favorite. I want to know more about catalpa because I did not know it had that use. I did know from Keith that it people like the leaves for growing the catalpa moth or catalpa caterpillar or something. Apparently, it's a big thing for bait in the Midwest. Yeah. Okay, Steve says magnolia tree leaves will release tannins into the water. And Desiree says oak, birch, mangrove, and alder, I think. Not 100% sure. Okay. Amongst the shrimp keepers. Okay. So mulberry and banana are favorite amongst shrimp keepers. Homestead Matter says we have a Meyer lemon that we have to greenhouse over winter. It's sensitive to frost here for us. I don't remember what zone you are. You're kind of near me, right? Homestead Manners? Is that right? What zone are you? I'm 8B here. Tommy says, as long as it's not a pine needle, the leaves are usually good for botanicals. Yes, they do add tannins to the water and help lower the pH, but they also provide many other great provisional properties. And Desiree took all that to say, I want to make pie. You're going to make some lemon meringue pie? Yeah. Yep. Tommy says catalpa are #1 among betta keepers and shrimp keepers. Almond leaves are great, but fish folk are picky. They want to make sure there's been no pesticide sprayed so it doesn't fail the tank. That makes sense. Well, man, maybe I should start harvesting catalpa leaves and drying them. That'd be good. Desiree says, I just bought a huge thing of lemon juice, but don't have any thickener. I would not make lemon meringue pie out of like bottled lemon juice. It's going to be not as good. So thickener, if you have cornstarch or arrowroot or, flour, but you wouldn't really want to put flour in that. What are some other thickeners that we can think of that Desiree might use? Yeah. Eric says, my grandson asked, do trees poop? I said, that's where the number 2 pencils come from. Welcome to the conversation, Eric. A good entrance you have made. Oh. Tommy says, yes, all leaves will release tannins into the water. That's part of the buffering capabilities of the pH there. It will help to lower pH, but usually not enough to the amount to worry. Okay. Alder, birch, mangrove, all great as well. As Steve says, Eric, cute. Okay, yeah, you are just north of me. Okay. So your mire froze. Did it freeze? Frost shouldn't kill it unless it's a baby. So maybe what that means is I need to protect mine until it's not a baby. I know when I was in California, I was in zone 9B. The one I had was already, it was already there before I was there, so I don't know exactly how old it was, but had a pretty good trunk on it, and it did fine. So I think it got down to 22 degrees there at the lowest, and for a few years I was putting Christmas lights on mine because it was just like I was concerned about it. And really didn't need to be. I mean, some of the flowers would probably died, and there were tips that were burned off, but I probably didn't need to for the whole tree. And then when I stopped putting stuff on it, it did fine. So it does get colder here, but I'm wondering if it's the age of the tree that matters too, or just the type of tree, because a lot of trees you have to protect, like they usually say at least until the stem is an inch in diameter, to protect it in winter. And that's, I mean, basically it makes sense. I mean, think of your trees as toddlers. They don't have, the thick bark to battle the elements, stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. PJ says, next tree I will look for is mulberry. You probably don't have to look very far for that, PJ. I'm going to guess you probably have one within like a mile of you. But you might want to look into varietals. And mulberry is something that does grow from cutting. So if you have a friend, neighbor, some random person that you run into that has a good mulberry, you can actually take a cutting from it. I would wait until it doesn't have leaves in the winter time to take a cutting, and you can grow them from cutting. So yeah. Joy says, hello all from Western Oregon. Hello, Joy. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing good. We got some wind today. I don't know if you got the wind today. We got wind today. Yeah, I should ask Homestead Matters that as well. Yeah. Everybody's laughing at Eric's joke. Okay. Desiree says I used to have an amazing planted tank. Sounds good. And Tommy says catalpa leaves sell great. About 12 to 15 is sold for around $8 to $15, depending on the local availability. Okay. I mean, I've seen them grow. This is the only one I've seen grow like in my local area, but I've seen them grow in the next, the nearest city. Not very many of them, and people generally don't know what things can be used for. So I don't know what the availability is, but yeah. So like $1 a leaf, basically. That's worth it. Hey, peanut and jelly. Uh, Desiree says agar is one you can use. I think it's gluten-free as a thickener. I don't know if it's gluten-free, but yeah, you could do that. I mean, if you're looking for that kind of thing, gelatin, you can make it a gelatin thing. Yeah. Tapioca is a thickener. So rice would be, if you have a rice flour, maybe everybody use that. Just having suggestions. Eric says, I don't feel like life hand me lemons. It feels like it fires them at me rapidly from a Lennon cannon. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Tommy says, almost $1 a leaf for talking catalpa, but that's high end. 50 cents a leaf is a good average. Wow. Wow. Yeah, gelatin. Oh, egg yolk. That is another one. That is another thickener, egg yolk. Good one, PJ. Brenda says, us colder climate? Use lemon juice and cornstarch to make lemon pie. Oh, buy the lemons. So much better. I understood her, Steve. Eric says, my wife asked me why I was staring at frozen juice cans. I said, because they say concentrate. Uh-huh. Yeah, egg yolk is used more for pudding, is what Desiree is saying to PJ. What you're making when you make lemon meringue pie is kind of puddingish. I would trust PJ. PJ is actually a cook. Like, she actually knows what she's talking about. We have fun on our Cook With Me lives. Yeah, lemon custard. Ooh, yeah, you can make lemon custard. Yeah, I've had lemon custard made of Meyer lemons. Super good. Yeah, there's an option for you, Desiree. What? Okay, Tommy just said something, and I think your comment before this might be missing. Put bulk potpourri. I don't know what that's in reference to, Tommy. He says, not bulk poultry. Get poultry. Get poultry all you can. Okay. Not potpourri. All right. You could make lemon custard. Absolutely. Yep. Time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, Verna says Desiree lemon pie is a pudding type pie. Kind of, yeah. I mean, you can make lemon pudding, or you can make the lemon base that is for lemon meringue, and they're slightly different, but they're related. Yeah. Homestead says it was a young one. We're talking about the Meyer lemon. Don't think an inch thick, and also unseasonal cold snap with snow. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I think this year, I mean, I haven't even put it in the ground yet. I should. I should at least put one in the ground, even though where I want to put it is not available yet. But yeah, that makes sense. Tommy says, oh, I didn't tell you. Oak leaves are antifungal and antibacterial for fish and invertebrates. So that's a good one to have around as well. Yeah, I knew that. It's antibacterial and antifungal for everything. It's a very, very, so tannin water from oak is very, very, very cleaning. You'll just end up with everything being brown. So as long as you're fine with dyeing everything brown, it's a fantastic cleaning product. Make your own decisions. All right. Joy says, yes, it's windy here too. It was like so windy today, like in random periods of time, not all at once. Eric says, when my friend Joyce learned she could clone herself, she rejoiced. Barely related, Eric. I think you got that from Joy, right? Eric usually has very topical, topically appropriate jokes. Homestead says, goodness, the tarp on the carport was flapping like it wanted to take flight earlier. Yeah. Yeah. All right. You guys can stop arguing about lemon meringue pie. Tommy says, it's best to pick the leaves that have naturally fallen or are already brown. No fish keeper will buy a leaf that is green. It better be dried out or they won't consider. That is good to know. So really don't do anything until the leaves start to fall. Okay. We can do that. We can do that. Oh, Steve wants some key lime pie. I made key lime pie once. Those limes take forever to squeeze. They're like this big. All right. Tommy says, if anyone wants any more detailed info on botanicals, I'm absolutely willing to fill your brain up. Just email me. It's in my about section. Awesome. Thank you, Tommy. That is awesome, and that is always good to think about. Some other things to think about is, so you can do stuff with leaves, you can do stuff with flowers, you can do stuff with resin. I have a friend here locally that she found some people that made a gum made of spruce resin, basically like the sap, and beeswax. It's very, very hard, and you have to kind of suck on it a while and get your saliva in there, and it's a little bit, but then it's actually really good. It cleans your teeth. It does some stuff for your mouth health, and it's actually really good. So, like, who would have thought that would be something you can sell, or something that would be, good for you? But they made it work. Yeah. Eric says, if I had $1 for every time algebra has helped me in real life, I've had X dollars. Okay. So Desiree says, my grandma always used lemon juice and cornstarch with, does that say with stevia? Is that what you're trying to say? To make hers. Okay, with stevia. Okay. Meyer lemons. Yep, Meyer lemons are the bomb. Steve. Ooh, lemon meringue with egg rolls is delicious. Is that a question mark or exclamation point? Because you did both. Autocorrect is having a ball tonight. That's fine. That's fine. Lemon meringue with egg rolls. Like, do you dip it or you just eat them separately together as a meal? Yeah, autocorrect has been ridiculous lately. They need to stop doing like, there's a point at which the AI needs to be like, stop thinking. Yeah. All right. Tommy says lemon tart with a marshmallow too. Lightly burnt, not burnt though, because that's blasphemy. Yeah, lemon meringue with egg yolk is a great idea. I think key lime pie with lemon juice. I think, isn't egg yolk in lemon meringue pie? Isn't that how you make the pie? I think that's how I make the pie. I think that's what my recipe is. Well, when PJ and my Meyer lemons start producing lemons, we'll have to do lemon meringue pie for our Cook With Me Live. If you're just joining, the Cook With Me Live is this Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. We are making chicken Alfredo, everything, noodles and all, and it's going to be fun. All right. Oh, okay, Tommy, we can't all fit inside your head, so thank you for explaining. He says, "Sorry, I was saying just don't be the person that buys bulk potpourri and tries to sell it as botanicals. I will find you. I have a very special set of skills." So people buy bulk potpourri and then split things up because that's not a thing. Like oftentimes it's sprayed with stuff or it has a scent added to it in oil or something. Desiree, you're making us hungry. Lemon tart with black raspberries and meringue. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. Yes, it does, PJ says. Can almost taste it from Verna. There we go. You missed your grandma's berry bushes. Yeah. Start planting things, even if you have to be like PJ right now and do it in pots. Yeah. You have a thing of lime juice too. Okay. Yeah, Verna. So that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna gather up some catalpa leaves and hang them to dry, but Tommy just told me that's not the way to do it. So I'm gonna just wait until they fall, and then hopefully remember what I'm supposed to do. Oh, Desiree wants to know if raspberry leaves would be good for tanks. All right, PJ is falling asleep. Good night. We will see you on Sunday. And man, you're doing awesome out there. Good, good. Desiree says I'm low on dessert ingredients. Can't make much. Okay. Okay. Yep. Yep. Verna, I agree. Too dang much AI that is having a either toddler or toddler, depending on what we're talking about, run everything. Yeah. Yep. I agree. There are different recipes for every kind of pie, it seems. Yeah, I believe my recipe is basically a custard. It's lemon meringue pie. I don't remember if it has gelatin in it or not, but I believe it had a bunch of egg yolks. Because usually when a pie has either, usually when a pie has things separated, like, hey, there's a bunch of egg yolks in it, then usually it's like, oh, what do we do with these egg whites? Let's make meringue and put it on top. Or with lemon curd, you use the yolks. Well, what do you do with these egg whites? Well, let's make meringue nests, and we'll make the meringue nests and then put the egg yolks, the custard in the nest. That is delicious. Have you ever made? If anybody has passion fruit, you can make passion fruit curd and put that in a meringue nest. It is delicious. Delicious. Yeah. Um. Mhm. Oh, people will straight up buy bulk potpourri and sells botanicals. There is a well-known Aquarius that does it, and I have been exposing him for it because it has dried fruit peel in it, like apple peel and orange peel, which will foul a tank. Yes, it would. A lot of the softwood botanicals are a no-go for fish tanks. General rule of thumb is hardwood only. That makes sense because it breaks down, right? Okay. Yeah. So he says that exactly, Verna. It's worth it. I know some people that can get you in on selling botanicals at fish shows, etc. That'd be cool. Passion fruit is a great curd. It really is. It really, really is. And I really wish you could actually can the stuff, but you're not supposed to. I wonder how it would freeze dry. Would that be absolutely wonderful? Verna or anybody else on here with a freeze dryer, have you ever freezed like lemon curd? I wonder how, one, I wonder how it is just like this. And two, I wonder how it might or might not rehydrate. Let me know. Okay, so Desiree says she looked on a forum and raspberry leaves are good for snail and shrimp. Here we go. Exactly, Verna. When you're walking Lucy in the fall, start gathering leaves. I mean, they're just going to throw them away, right? Yeah. Most berry leaves are great for invertebrates. Good, good, good. Curds are custards without milk. I didn't even think of that, Verna. Didn't even think of that. Yeah, Tommy has a good warning there. Good warning there. Be careful of forums. They will run wild ideas. I keep husbandry simple, not overcomplicated. That makes sense. Yep. Okay, Brenna's done cheesecake. That's not the same as curd. All right. Tommy, if you want, you can put your email in there. Just do spaces in between the at, and don't put .com. People will know what to do. It should come up. As long as you can prove that there's been no pesticides sprayed on those leaves, you're good. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Not the pesticide part, the fish part. Homestead says making some dinner for the kids. Y'all have a good week. Thanks for the fun ideas. Toodles, toodles. Thank you for coming and sharing your time. And have a great week. All right. So anime, if Tommy puts his email in there, you have to put it in there, like put the name of it and then space, maybe the at, or just type at, and then a space, and then whatever it's at. And then don't do .com because they won't let it go. If he does that, then you can email him. Verna says you can freeze dry Jello, so I'm sure you could do the same with curds. Probably best dried instead of rehydrating. Have you tried rehydrating Jello? I'm just curious how that even turns out. I'm very curious about that. Because if it rehydrates well, that's kind of a fun thing. Not good to rehydrate? Okay. Oh yeah, Steve does this too. Why did I not say that, Steve? Steve, have you done curd? First fish tank are always a fun story. Mine were absolute failures. Thank you, Steve, for putting Tommy's email there. There you go. There's Tommy's email. Sorry if you get flooded. Yeah, so he does a lot of fish stuff, a lot of tank stuff, knows a lot about fish plants, fish, shrimp, all that stuff. So you can look him up there. Okay. Thank you. Well, Tommy, when people know what they're talking about and they're helpful to the conversation, I send people their way. You know? It's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. We want to share our knowledge. You look forward to it. Good. Yeah. So that is apparently the topic of discussion. I mean, I thought I was going to talk about something else, but I think we've been taken up by what you might be able to earn from selling on your land. Thank you for the link. There's Tommy's link. Yeah. Anything aquatic, if you don't have the answer, you can find it. Yeah, and he is connected. Yeah. Yeah. Desiree said, set up my first planted tank, and it had no spikes of algae or ammonia. It was stable within a week. I had my fish in there after that. It all went perfect. Good. So I was talking with one of my friends, and this is going to extend into potential homesteading stuff, not just tanks. She was having problems with a managed pond on land that is not necessarily managed by her, and wanting advice. So I did dig a pond in my old property, a hand dug pond, maybe like 10 by 5 or 6, kind of a interesting shape and pretty deep. And that was an interesting experience for me because I'd never done that before. A lot of digging. And it also it did really, really well for a long time. And then, like, I had thousands of baby minnows in there. Like, they just all of a sudden populated the earth. I went away for a couple days on a work trip, and I came back, and everything was dead. Everything was dead. And what happened in there, it's called eutrophication. Maybe I've gone for a week. And what happens is the nutrients get too much in a system, and it basically kills off everything. The oxygen is used in the decomposition process, so that takes it out of the water column and into the benthos, basically. That also happens when a lake, like a larger lake, turns over. So there are large bodies of water that they say it's turning over. So there is a function that I'm not going to explain fully here. I know the Great Lakes go through this. I think Lake Erie. There was a school somewhere over there that was right on the lake that you couldn't drink the tap water at certain times of the year because they got it from the lake. Yeah. And that plus when there's extra nutrition in the system, meaning from multiple sources, but in this case it was probably tons and tons of fish poo. When there's all that nutrition into the system, things like algae, if there's sun involved, can grow super quickly. And if you have algae in the water column, it can very quickly steal the oxygen out of the water, especially when it's not flowing, it's stagnant. And there is something you can do about that. And if you're going to dig a pond, maybe do this before it becomes a problem. There's 2 things you can do. One, you can take water from a pond has stabilized and is healthy. Be very careful with that, especially if you're doing ponds and not just water tanks, because you can transfer some pretty nasty stuff. One of which is a chytrid fungus, which affects amphibians pretty negatively. And it is something that has been passed around, unfortunately, from people. Some animals, mostly people. But that's one thing you could do. Bring in a plant, bring in some stuff, and that will inoculate your pond with the bacteria and the enzymes and all that. Another thing to do is you can put barley straw in your system. If you put barley straw in your system, it does an amazing thing. So you don't need a big thing of hay. If you have a big pond, sure, maybe just get a hay bale. But if you don't have a big pond, you can go to the pet store. So PetSmart, Petco, all of those types of things have it. I'm guessing any pond-focused store will have it. And it's basically bales of hay this big, of barley hay. And that you drop in the pond, it does nothing immediately. It will take a while. And as that straw rots, it releases an enzyme which literally eats the algae. So if you keep a good, healthy population of that enzyme, population of enzyme, that's not really the right words, but if you keep a good amount of that in there, which is naturally made by the breakdown, by the rotting process of barley, then that's how you solve that issue without chemicals. So that's how you clean up an area without chemicals. That's how you treat that area without chemicals. Now, if you already have an area that's yucky, clean out the yucky. Just, with a stick, with brushes, with all of that, get it out as much as you can, and then put in these things. If you develop good bacterias and stuff like that, and you have these enzymes, then that's a good thing. So let's go back to it. I like these lives. We go on random tangents. All right, let's see. So Tommy's saying the planted tank is a key there. Most start with fake and plastic stuff. Plants do a massive filtering for you. And if I remember right, they also do help with temperature control, right? Desiree said the filter grew its bacteria quickly, though. That filter was probably the worst I've seen because it overflowed. Ended up going filterless after 2 months, and it did better. Okay. Verna, I hope you get some sleep. You should go to bed right now. Yeah. Tommy says, that's awesome. I've definitely done filterless and dirted tank built from my front yard. There is definitely a learning curve to doing those, but once you understand the biology and the cycle, you're gold. Exactly. So that's the thing. You can do these things without chemicals and all this. You just have to understand what is happening. Yeah. Oh, Desiree doesn't have a tank anymore. Food Forest Permaculture. Greetings, fellow Earthlings. Greetings, Howie. Hope you're doing good. We're talking a lot of fish tank stuff. The reason why is because I asked a question of Tommy, and the original question was magnolia leaves. Dried magnolia leaves are sold for fish tanks. What else can we sell to the fish folk for their tank needs? And we're kind of going into aquatic health and all of that. You can apply some of this to pond stuff. Tommy says algae can be good for things too. There's a balancing act between it and the amount of light and the amount of excess nutrients that are in the water column, like you're saying, if you're overfeeding. Yeah, and my pond, I wasn't feeding at all. Like they were surviving off of whatever they could find. Who knows if my little fish flakes came with me in the move. I had other people helping me pack, so they probably are in a box somewhere. But I didn't even go through the first bunch of fish flakes. My first fish that I got from my pond was before the pond was done because I got plants before the pond was done. Imagine that. And they were just in Rubbermaid bins, and the bins were full of water, and the pond plants were in there. And surprise, surprise, I got mosquito larvae. And so I went to the fish store and I got ruby red minnows, plopped them in there, and man, they slurped up those minnows in no time. And I had to go back and get fish food. I was like, I did not think you guys were going to go through that so fast. Yeah. All right. Tommy says, and are running your lights more. Okay, if you're running the lights more than 8 to 10 hours a day, you're probably going to have bad algae. And the same goes for pond cover. So pond cover should be a certain percentage of plant cover. depending on where you are. Yeah. Anyway, says I use fluvial stratum for my tanks, also sand and gravel, which I'll never use altogether like that again. Oh boy. Okay, you've seen people run discus tanks, which are very finicky, and have them and dirt with the full-on mycelia growing on the bottom. Wow, wow. Straight white fungus on the substrate, but he is a genius. That's good. Yeah, you can have enough plants to compete the algae. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, and mycelium, I mean, they grow. I was not aware they would grow in a tank with water, but I mean, they're like the secret to life, you know? Yeah, cool on the barley straw, sow and tare, how he says. Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's I don't remember what the enzyme's called, but there is an enzyme that does it just rots and it releases this enzyme. I'm gonna try and move things so I don't get blinded here. Let's see, can I move this? I gotta move you guys forward. Come on, hang on. Okay, close enough. I gotta sit right here. Okay. Eric said, I knew a guy who got arrested for stealing hay. He couldn't make bail. Oh, I have not heard that one, Eric. Anime says, oh man, I had a Java fern I buried. A mistake, but it's what that plant wanted. Okay. Okay, that's right. That's awesome. Awesome. Eric says, however lonely you feel, you're never alone. Literally millions of bugs, mites, and bacteria living in your house. Good night. And also on your body. Exactly, Verna. Awesome. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of plants that can be good in tanks. Eric says, I can't believe that viruses and bacteria would just invade my body without permission. That makes me sick. Oh my gosh. Welcome back, Andy Rabbit. We are talking about things that you can, well, we were talking about things that you can sell from your homestead to earn a little bit of extra cash to fish people. Conversation was started with magnolia leaves, which dried magnolia leaves are pretty popular in the fish community. Tommy says 100 facts, Katrina. Most fish keepers will urge you to buy chemical after chemical as if it's a magic pill, but you can absolutely do it without them, except for maybe some dechlorinator. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Nature doesn't dump chemicals typically. I mean, unless you consider us part of nature, which, yeah. How he's doing well. Very best to me. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That is good. I think Desiree and Tommy, you guys made friends. Yeah, you can apply. So Tommy's saying you can apply all this stuff to pond stuff. Exactly. So a tank is just a mini pond that has controlled some control in it. So we're talking about pH control with leaves. That happens in nature. With oak trees that drop their leaves, it's going to acidify, I believe. Maybe. It's going to acidify the water slightly. And it'll be a natural cleanser, but like I said, it'll dye everything brown. Yeah. Eric says, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, he will bore you to death with an endless fishing stories and photos of himself on Facebook holding fish. True story. I knew some people at a place I used to volunteer at, and it's a wildlife refuge. And there's a married couple, and the one guy, what they say about them is the guy, he finds secret fishing places, and then his wife tells people where they are. It was pretty true and kind of funny, and I don't think he thought it was funny. Oh. Tommy says, that's wonderful, Katrina. That means you had a good food web built up in the tank. That's great. Me? I haven't had a tank in a long time. The last tank I managed was at my undergraduate school when I was lab assistant, and we managed saltwater tank. And I don't think I ever had that kind of problem. The one thing I really, really remember about that, we had an upside down jellyfish disappear. Upside down jellyfish go like this instead of like this. And it was gone for like a month. Don't know what happened to it. And then I was actually in the room when the sea anemone burped it up. It was a little rough around the edges, but it was still alive. Yeah. Yep. Oxygen is great for water. Good statement, Howie. I've seen people put a rain sprinkler on the pond to give oxygen. Yeah. Yep. My pond in California didn't have flowing water, but it worked because the fish I had in there, I had comet goldfish and I had ruby red minnows. They are air breathers, so they come up to the surface and they gulp. So they did fine. Plus, I had some of my goldfish for quite a while. They would come up for pets, and I would pet them. So you can have relationships with your fish too. That's where he said, accidentally brackish tank as my second tank. Oh well. All right. Eric says, what kind of fish is made up of only 2 sodium atoms? Tuna. Oh boy. All right. Yeah, you can get solar fountains for those. I think that's often what is put in these days. Yeah. So Tommy says my outdoor pond only gets 4 hours of direct sunlight a day, and I still get algae from it, but it is also dirted, so that's a lot of excess nutrients. Yeah. And then also, I mean, the algae you get on the surface is different than the algae that you get through the water column as well. Yeah. That's the balancing act. Rely on fish to provide the fertilizer for the substrate, or use dirt to provide nutrients underneath. Yep. Oh, underneath the sand cap. Okay. I do know that, Tommy. Says, come on, you know the fungus is the best building block of all life. I do. I do. Andy says, my rabbit's shed doesn't get any sunlight, but algae will still grow in there. It gets light though. So you're saying like in the bottles, or in the wherever. As long as it gets light, it doesn't matter. Algae can grow. Um, if it's fully darkened, like container painted black or something, then it's less likely to grow. All right. Oh, thank you, Myrna. She says, nice singing on your week in review. I look like I have a headband on, but I totally don't. There, now I'm data. Yeah, so the song is called Orange Colored Sky, and I sang it a long, long time ago, and I totally messed up the lyrics, and I knew I was, but I couldn't think of what it was, so when I got home, I had to, look up what the lyrics were. But I won a talent contest. I think second place. I think I got second place in talent contest singing that song. It's a good one. Glad you enjoyed it. All right. Oh, Tommy's replacing his exotic tropicals with native species. Some fish people are going to be mad at you. You realize this, right? Oh. Okay. Howie says, good night, earthlings. Have to go in water. Good night, Howie. It was good to have you on here. We'll see you next week. Okay. So Tommy says there's a watch species that are either close to extinction or endangered. Who puts out that list, Tommy? Right, and that is a good tip. So that's a good tip, Tommy, for ponds too. Chlorine will off gas if you let it sit out for 24 hours to use in a fish tank, but chloramine will not off gas, and it's lethal to fish. I did not know it was lethal to fish. I do know that in a city condition, because they do add it on purpose, chlorine, you can, if your tap water has chlorine in it, you can literally fill up a bucket, set it outside for 24 hours, and then it won't have chlorine in it when in that time. Chloramine, it stays bonded in there to the water somehow. And what that means is there's no way that's easy to get it to come apart from the water. Chlorine is easy, it just off gases. Chloramine is getting exceedingly popular in tap water because it doesn't have the same taste as chlorine. And while we don't want to, drink pool water, it's still not good. It's still not great for you. It's added to get rid of the bacteria, but it's still not great for you. So it's recommended, and I never did this, and you should do it. It's recommended if you have that in your tap water, for your garden to get a filter, an inline filter that you can use. And yeah, I would recommend doing that. I haven't done it myself, but I would recommend doing it because it makes sense. There is another thing that you can do. Boogie Brew. Boogie Brew. Let me find it. Boogie Brew. It's a compost tea stuff. These guys are pretty awesome people. I met them at the Heirloom Expo, which isn't happening this year. And let's see. Boogie Brew. Tommy, I feel like you would love these people. They make they make compost tea. That is their main thing that they do. They also sell a filter. I don't know if it takes that out or if it just adds. I don't remember what it does, but I remember like reacting pretty positively to that. So where's their website's a little weird. There we go. So they have soil amendments, Boogie Brew, value boxes, essential products. Let's see. Compost tea, pure kelp, protein, yeah. All sorts of stuff. Air pumps or air stones, water filters. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, so they have a water filter. Let me share my screen. Maybe. Share screen. All right. So they have these three little lines over here. You click there to get the menu. And I'm at the water filter part. And it basically activates your garden. Pre-filter for garden. So anyway, you can check it out. They're good people. And I just thought I'd let you guys know about them. Yeah. Okay. What are magnolia leaves for? They are for balancing pH in a tank, in a fish tank. So you can sell them after they've fallen and dried. You can package them up and sell them to fish tank people, aquaculture people, the better term. Yeah, or a pond, yeah. Tommy says, the smaller the body of water, the harder it is to maintain. That is true. The larger it is, the easier it is to maintain. Ponds are the way to go if you can swing it. Yeah. I pronounce the D. Yep, facts. Leaves drop and tanning up the water. Usually most streams won't be brown from tannins because they have a mountain source or spring melt. Yep. And yeah, they're constant source of fresh water. Yeah. Exactly. So the tannins will be lower in flowing streams because of the because it's flowing. Yeah. He says, I meant by the will maintain your tank when you were talking about not feeding your fish and them just surviving off what was in the water. That means you had good food web going. Oh, got it. Yeah, it's when you have when I built the pond, it was in the middle of the people that you guys have been watching for a while, you know where it was, but it's in the city and where there is no ponds, except for my neighbor had a small pond. All the water bugs found me. All the water bugs. I had baby of everything in there. It was very active. I had dragonfly nymphs in there. I had, damselflies, water striders, water boatmen. I mean, there was a whole bunch of things that just showed up and made it into a thriving thing. And then the algae is there, and then the fish eat the algae. They eat the mosquito larvae and all the other bugs. So yeah, it was really good ecology. And it was really good for a shorter amount of time before I put the barley in until everything died. And then after I put the barley in and it had a chance to rot, that's when it just really, really took off, and it's awesome. Yeah. Eric says there's 2 fish in a tank. One says the other, how do you drive this thing? Ha ha ha. Yeah. My small pond in California. Andy says, I have a water iris. It's bright yellow. Yeah, this is an invasive kind. Flag iris, I think. I divided, and the hubby could not toss the extras, so we planted them along the pathway. They're about chest high this year. Wow. Wow. That sounds like the invasive one, flag iris. Desiree says, if I do anything with tanks again, I'll probably stick with 10-gallon and always long, not high. Yeah, so you can reach everything. That's a lesson learned, huh? Yeah, we're here for the dad jokes, Tommy. Yeah. CO2, great for water too. Pronounce to what the climate. Pronounce what? CO2 actually helps invertebrates grow quicker and more substantially thrive. Helps fish live longer. Well, trap it in the ponds, right? It drastically helps a vast amount of different aquatic species the plants grow. Yeah, so the plants, carbon sequestration is something that really needs to happen, and really it does happen. But we've lost, grasslands is the number one thing that sequesters carbon. And so that is, something that has gone away in a large amount. So mimicking these and making our pastures better and stuff like that will do similar things. But wetlands and pond plants and all of that bring things out of the air into water sources or into the ground is good. Yeah. Yeah. Verna, have a wonderful night. Thank you for being here, and thank you for moderating. And then sleep, please. We appreciate you. Eric says, what did the mermaid wear to math class? Algebra. Andy says, my rabbits get a light on a timer every day, so there is a light. Okay, algae in the water tubes. Okay. Now, in the past, I've used a irrigation 1/4 inch to get the water from either a black irrigation 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch PVC. 1/2 inch? I think 1/2 inch. Whatever the size is PVC. And so both of those you don't really get light into. So maybe try switching over to something solid and you shouldn't get light. Tommy says, orange sky is my favorite. Blue and orange is a perfect contrast. Exactly. Exactly. Fish people won't get mad at you for getting rid of the fancy fish. You got a lot of fish inherited from a friend that just passed away 6 weeks ago. Oh, it would be my honor to spread her light to other fish keepers that I know have good husbandry. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you're not just like, I'm done with this. You're actually spreading this out. That's good. That's good. It's a binder. The chloramine. Yeah, it's a binder to the hydrogen molecule. Okay. Yeah, I know it's connected. It's fully connected. Um, and you actually have to run it through a pretty good filter to get rid of it. I don't know if the one I showed you does that, but I mean, you can totally ask them. Yeah. Andy gave up her fish tank hobby when you bought a new truck. Kind of want to get more fish. I kept all my tanks. You could put them in the back of the truck. That's good. Yeah, so that's a good point, and I kind of overlooked that, Tommy. You can absolutely request to look at everything that's in your water from your local municipality or get it online, but I warn you, you're not going to like it. Exactly. So, as far as I know, and it was true in California, I'm guessing it's true everywhere in the United States. I don't have a water company because I have a well here, but I did do the extra test for 35. The extra, it's called like a 35 plus or whatever. So they test whatever they typically test for, and then they test for other things. Every year you should get a statement from your water provider that says what is in your water, and not just what is in your water, but how many parts per million it is, and what the acceptable level is as deemed by I don't know who. And they will even, it should even tell you if it's gone over in places, where it's gone over. It should have all that information in it. And if you're not receiving these, you should be able to get it because they should be testing it. Good point. Yeah. Tommy says our tap water isn't even considered legally safe to drink for human consumption. I have to filter it, even to water my plants. That sucks. When I lived in Illinois, we were on boil order 5 or 6 times for the 2 years that I lived there. And boil order means more than you have to boil your water to use it, or sometimes to bathe with it. It means, oh, hey, we missed this, and somebody's already had an issue, and somebody's already discovered that they've been drinking this nasty stuff for 10 days, or whatever it is, right? It means they discovered an issue, and it usually is that somebody has already consumed this, right? And that you have to boil the water before using it. I never thought I would pay for water, and I hate doing the water bottle thing. I got a Brita filter. That's what I used. It works great. I now know that kind of filter does not filter things like aluminum. So I have a slightly high aluminum here in the well water. So I have a reverse osmosis underneath my sink in the kitchen. So that's where I get all of my drinking and cooking water from, is from the reverse osmosis. Hey, if I'm washing with water that has a little bit of aluminum in it, I'm not going to be bothered with that. But you do want to know what you're trying to filter and whether that filter actually filters what you're trying to filter. So that is a very good point. Yeah. Tommy says inline RV filters attached directly to a water hose. They work great. Awesome. I know so little about RV stuff. Yeah. He says used to, because the carbon stage is small, so if it gets a chance to go through another carbon stage, it does a lot better. Okay. Use dos. Yeah. Boogie Brew is pretty cool, Andy says. Have you used it? Yeah, it is pretty cool. And they're very cool people too. Like, and it's so funny because you get them talking and they just talk about compost tea forever. And I love it. I'm here for it. Oh, it's pretty awesome. Tommy says, for carbon to work efficiently to filter water, it needs to go through at low pressure or have multiple stages of carbon to work. Yeah, that's why you're not supposed to just jam it through. Yeah. Or you could build your own giant carbon filter out of PVC. That's like 18 inches long. Okay. Okay. um, Tommy, have you made a video on that? On building a carbon filter? Because if not, you should. And if you have, maybe post it in the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group, if that's okay. If you guys haven't already signed up for the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group, here is the link. Please answer all the questions so we know you're not a bot. We'll accept you. If you have done videos on, a video on that, go ahead and drop it in the Facebook group. And totally, you guys, can continue that conversation. Talking about water stuff and water quality stuff. You can totally have that conversation over on the Facebook group, so that everybody can kind of see what the results. Can kind of be involved and learn from it, because that's pretty awesome. Eric, you're right. Fire trucks are actually water trucks. Oh my gosh. Why do fish live in salt water? Because pepper makes them sneeze. Eric, you're doing pretty good tonight. You're doing pretty good tonight. Exactly. Yeah. So Tommy says food web is a great thing to do for ponds as well. If you can find somebody with some Daphne and duckweed. Yep. And duckweed will find its way to your pond if there's anywhere nearby, because it will cling to a bird's leg and get there. Throw it in your pond immediately. Daphnia will provide food for smaller fish and food for bigger fish. Yeah, so I said that earlier. To be number one, getting some pond water, which will have that kind of stuff in it, or getting some pond plants from a nearby pond that already has a stable bacteria, or have it is more stable, is good. Just make sure you're not transferring things you shouldn't transfer, and that can be hard to see, if impossible to see. Chytrid fungus is something that is really bad for amphibians, and specifically, and so that really shouldn't be transferred if possible. But yeah, so Daphnia is a water flea. Here's some fun thing about Daphnia. I don't know if you're going to enjoy it or not. I took an environmental toxicology course in college, and class was small. We split into two groups, and we did toxicology experiment. The other group chose caffeine. My group, no, my group, because I wanted to test caffeine. They're like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting. So my group tested caffeine, and the other group tested aspirin as just a aspirin. What happens, because whenever we take medicine, part of it goes down the toilet anyway, right? And then caffeine, similar thing. So we had our levels really low. Excuse me. We had our levels really low. No matter how low we did our experiment for caffeine, they went crazy and then they died. The Daphnia. And then when the other group did their experiment with aspirin, they got pregnant and had babies. And I'm like, this is really weird. Daphnia, you can actually see if they have active eggs in them. They're like, their bodies are see-through. And so they're like, we need to do this again. And so they did the experiment again and again, and it's the same effect. So don't know what that says about aspirin, but there you go. Yeah. If you keep fish in your pond, you definitely want to try to keep out dragonfly nymphs. Why? Because they eat them. They are a lethal hunting weapon for fish and small copepods. I did a segment on dragonfly nymphs as a warning. You know what? If you have enough fish, not a problem. They were never a problem for me, but I didn't have like tons of them. Yeah. Eric tried water polo, but my horse couldn't swim. I don't know, Tommy. Dragonfly nymphs are nature's ultimate predator. They are pretty predator. They're scary looking too. Have you heard of toe biters? They're pretty good too, at least for people's toes. Oh. Eric says, a man is suing Smartwater for not making him smart. And I'd like to formally announce my lawsuit against Thin Mints. Good luck. Andy had duckweed growing in a 5-gallon bucket for a few years and would scoop it out and feed my koi. They loved it. I forgot to keep water in the bucket one summer and it died. You know what, Andy? If you put out a bucket of water and leave it there for a few months, number one, you're going to get mosquito larvae, so put some fish in there. But I bet you that duckweed will come back to you. I bet you have seeded the world with duckweed. Duckweed is a very high nutrient. It's a little tiny pond plant, like little teeny tiny, and it has roots like maybe that long that go. It floats on the surface of the water, and it's really really good food for anything that eats green things. The one thing to think about and consider is it is a heavy metal accumulator. So if your water has heavy metals in it, I would recommend you think hard about that before feeding a lot of it to your animals. Otherwise, it is a great plant for really everything. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Tommy says aquatic plants have different stomata. Stomata is the hole that opens up that has the gas exchange in the leaf. So CO2 is a fuel generator for them, and they help the aquatic ecosystems by filtering the water, providing oxygen by conversion of CO2. So the more CO2 they get, the more oxygen for the plants and fish. Exactly. I mean, terrestrial plants do that too, but you might have a different look to them. What would magnolia leaves do for soil? I would assume it would do the same with pH, but it might take a really, really long time to get there because I don't think they break down quickly. So if they break down at a higher rate than just nature, it might acidify. I think it acidifies. Yeah. Fresh and saltwater crustaceans with increase of CO2 have flourished. Okay. Yeah, it's a balancing act. It really is. It really, really is. Yep. Okay, so Steve has some timing information for you, Andy. If you don't chop it, it takes 2 years to come to compost, and that's in a humid situation, right? If you're in an arid situation, you're never going to get rid of those leaves unless you do something else to it. Yeah. Eric says last night someone broke into our house and took a dozen eggs. They also left a saucepan filled with warm water. Police believe it was poachers. That one's new for me. That one's new for me, Eric. Okay, so chloramine usually has to go through a chemical filtration to get rid of it. I just know it has to have a special filter. And I do not know if Boogie Brew is that filter or not. So part of what I was getting to when I was talking about the Boogie Brew, this is true for plants. I don't know how true it is for animals. But if your plants are healthy, they're going to be able to fight off things more. They're going to be able to fight off pollutants more as well. If your plants are healthy and have mycorrhizae that are well connected with them, then they're going to have even more of a buffer from the bad things that might come in on the water or other things. So that's something to think about, is to make sure your plants are healthy. And that's where the boogie brew would come in, which you can do that yourself too. So compost tea is all it is, or worm tea, worm casting tea. Foliar feeding basically increases that, so you can foliar feed and go around the bottom into the soil as well. But keeping your plants healthy, they're going to be able to fight off a whole slew of things more effectively. And that includes pests, it includes diseases, it includes a lot of things. And okay, that's my dad. And so keeping them healthy and keeping that ecosystem healthy. So Tommy keeps on talking about ecosystem. It is really the whole ecosystem. So you have your creepy crawlies, you have your bacteria that is good bacteria, you have your mycelium, you have other funguses too, fungi. You have good nutrition available and all these things. So these are all important parts of having a healthy ecosystem, whether it be, in a pond or in a garden or food forest or actual forest. Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. Steve, thank you for moderating, and have a wonderful, wonderful night. We are already 8:13, so I'm going to put a stop to the comments here. Well, I'm just going to speed up. If you guys want to have more conversations over at the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group, then go there and continue that. That would be great. And let me scroll through, see if I've missed anything that's good. Boiling is great. Then filter it through sponge layers, then carbon, then really fine sand, like pool filter sand, but rinse the out of the sand first, right? So it's not dust. Wash it out. If your tummy feels crazy, you might need to boil water. Yeah. Oh, you made the local news with your water, Tommy? That's not good. Yeah, Andy, we've talked about bottled water before on here. It's pretty plasticky. Oh no. Diarrhea from water. That is not good. Yeah. Okay. Eric says, today I learned you can use disposable masks to brew espresso. That's because they're coffee filters. Trace amount of lithium. Oh my gosh, Tommy. Okay. Yes, I agree with Tommy. Eric, you're slaying it. Okay, I'm going to skip over some stuff. Okay, Andy says, I learned a lot of how I do some stuff from a video Buggy Brew did many years ago. I called them for some reason. They gave me a lot of information. They love to talk. It's amazing. They're amazing people that love sharing information. Eric says, what are elephants big, gray, and why are elephants big, gray, and wrinkled? If they were small, white, and round, they'd be aspirin. What? Oh. Okay, secret to duckweed. There's about 50% shade and low flow of water. If you can have high flow, it will turn the leaves over and cause it to die. That's true. Stagnant is fine too. Yeah, it does grow fast unless it gets eaten. Water can have Metallica in it. Maybe. Turn it up, see what happens. Andy says, one day I woke up and my pond was full of tadpoles. Yep. A bad got in the pond? Bat, maybe? I don't know. A bat got in the pond and it was full of tadpoles. Something. I don't think bat is your word. In about 3 days, I was able to get rid of the tadpoles. It was clear. It was a clear bag. Oh, bag. Fish comes in. Oh. Okay. Yep. Leave duckweed to dry naturally. Yep. Water column carries many trace minerals and metals. If you ever look at TDS tests for GH and KH, that will tell you all the different amounts. Yep. Great. So duckweed is great to absorb heavy metals like copper. If you have sheep, do not feed it to sheep, goats, birds, goldfish, koi, humans. Just not sheep on duckweed or some parrots. Yeah, so it could potentially be used for what am I thinking of? Bioremediation. So sunflowers are another one that uptake heavy metals. There's more, but yeah. Oh, it will give sheep bottleneck. Okay. But that's only if you have a high metal content, right? Yeah. Andy saying good night. Good night. See y'all, Tommy says. You're welcome, Tommy. Bag in the pond. I got to it. Got to it. All right, guys. Well, thank you for a good conversation. I hope everybody enjoyed that. You never know what we're going to talk about on here. I was going to talk about something else, but then we got onto the water topic, and I think we have a good conversation. So always remember we can have those conversations over on the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group, but you do have to. Oh, sheep can't have copper. Okay, got it, Joy. Anyway, so Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group is a good place to continue conversations. I think we had some good conversation here. And then again, this weekend, we are doing the Cook With Me Live on Sunday. And we are making chicken Alfredo, making the pasta and everything, guys. So sign up for that if you haven't signed up already. You can watch it after. This is members only. And so when you become a member, you can watch everything we've already done. And it's a whole lot of fun. So we hang out and chat and cook. So, all right. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed tonight. I did. And thank you to the moderators. I think they've already gone to bed. You will have a topic for your next live. Are you telling me or asking, Andy? We're gonna make one. Yeah, I do. I had one prepared, but then we went off in this direction and it seemed like a good thing to just take. So yeah. If you have a suggested one, let me know. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys either this Sunday for the Cook With Me Live or on Monday for our regularly scheduled live chat, weekly live chat. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful week. Have a good night.